Okay, I've got a question. What do a home renovation show, a magical note from Santa, and a slew of dudes named Nick have in common?
Well, somehow, believe it or not, they are all key plot points in 2024's Santa Tell Me. And we've got a lot to talk about, Josh.
We do, Jennifer, and we'll unwrap it all on this episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Sit down and watch, then have a talk with Jennifer and Josh.
Do you think we'll get flagged for copyright because that sounded just like Ariana Grande?
I can only hope. Anyway, so much to get to with this one. We've got magic, we've got meet cutes, and we've got mistletoe. The full plot recap is on the way, plus our ever-popular Gold or Coal segment, where we will give you the bottom line verdict on whether we think this one is worth the watch.
That's right. First things first, here is the plot summary, and it's a long one, so buckle up your sleigh here. When Olivia, a successful interior designer, finds an old letter from Santa promising that she will meet the love of her life by Christmas Eve and that his name will be Nick, she's stunned to meet not one but 3 guys named Nick. As she navigates these holiday romances, Olivia also finds herself drawn to her charming coworker, Chris, throwing her magical Christmas quest into question. With the clock ticking toward Christmas Eve, Olivia embarks on a heartwarming and humorous journey to uncover her true soulmate. Let's go.
Curtain up, and we see this really sweet girl. Her name is Olivia, and she's reading her Christmas list to her younger sister. She's maybe, I guess, what, Jennifer, 7 or 8 or so? She's really cute.
I think so, yeah.
And already has a clear vision for exactly what she wants for Christmas. She wants a dollhouse, and she wants a man. And she lays it all out there for Santa Claus about exactly what she wants to see in her one true love.
We love a strong, independent woman who knows what she wants and makes a plan to get it. We stan.
Yes, she wants Santa to provide his name and the dreamiest of Hallmark-esque meet-cutes. She's clearly a girl with eye on love. Well, the next morning she wakes up, it's Christmas, she gets the dollhouse, but she doesn't get the man. Anyway, she cutely wonders just how long it'll be. Well, fast forward 25 years. Here we go. To modern-day Seattle, and Olivia is jump-starting her day with some espresso, a Bobo Peloton workout, and some phenomenal-looking holiday cookies. Those cookies, Jennifer. Oh,
So good. Yeah.
so good. She works at the Style Home Network, which I'm guessing is sort of like a Bobo HGTV. Is that what we think it is?
The Boboest of Bobo, yes. Bottom of the barrel HGTV, I think.
Anyway, she's producing some sort of holiday special. They'll be fixing up the house for the holidays in just 3 weeks' time. She rallies her team. She casts a vision for what they're going to do. She's all excited, but there's a bit of a record scratch kind of a problem here. The network has apparently hired some guy named Chris Davis to help the show be a mega success. Now, Olivia is skeptical because Chris apparently has a background in reality TV, and she is very anti-reality TV, especially the kind of reality TV Chris Davis does. He apparently does some sort of dating show involving models who live together in a house. So she really is like thumbing her nose at the whole idea of that.
Because design shows are also reality TV.
Exactly my point. Yeah, it's all reality.
Or even probably not a lot of reality actually going on those shows. But,
Precisely.
What am I to say?
Yeah, neither here nor there. Olivia hops in what she thinks is an Uber, and she unpacks her feelings about this Chris character to the driver, only to realize she is in fact not in an Uber, and the driver is in fact Chris, the very guy that she is bad-mouthing. Whoopsie! He drives her to some sort of rundown foreclosure, which turns out to be her childhood home, which has really fallen into a lot of disrepair for just
My
25
goodness.
years. Yikes.
There were leaves in the foyer. Just not
It was
rational
rough.
leaves.
It was rough. Anyway, it turns out that this is the home that they're going to be fixing up. She doesn't think there's time to do it. I don't either. Spoiler. It's a bit of a mess, and he calls it a, quote, success in progress, which is a rebrand if I've ever heard of one. I'm going to start using that. Instead of things being a mess, I'm going to call them a success in progress, because
Yes.
that is Kirkland's wisdom I can get on board with.
Cross stitch it hanging on the wall.
Please.
We could all use that. Make it the background of your computer if you want.
Yes. Anywho, Darcy, her sister, stops by the house a little bit later with wine, a spark of optimism, and a brand new Christmas sweater for her. They reminisce on the Christmas magic that the house once had back in the day, when Olivia hears a bell, just a bell sort of chiming, and then she sees off in the distance like a glowing thing coming from an air vent. Well, they rip off the cover of this air vent, and it's a letter addressed to Olivia. It has like a wax seal on the back of it, the whole 9 yards. It's really kind of...
it's official.
No, it's official.
We work out the wax seals. It's a little bit of magic's about to come into this movie.
Big deal. Inside is a letter, is the letter that she wrote to Santa, where she laid out her dreams for the dollhouse and her man, and a response card from Santa Claus. Now, the text magically starts glowing out of nowhere with a poem that reveals that the name of her true love is Nick. Now, Olivia has a hard time with all of this and throws it away in the trash can. Her sister Darcy is trying to talk some sense into her. After all, magic, come on. The note glows in the trash can as we fade to commercial, so clearly something is afoot. Anyhow.
Now, if there's a letter glowing, I'm going to have it investigated for radioactive materials.
Something.
Asbestos reactions, some kind of building, something. And you all grew up in this house and y'all got glowing letters. Hey, you need to go to the doctor, get an MRI, get some scans done, because I'm worried about everybody's health in this family. Not to mention the girls, their parents were no longer around. It's this house is haunted, clearly.
Something, because it's fallen into such disrepair in just 25 years. Yeah.
The drywall crumbles. You just look at it and stuff starts falling.
The next morning, back at her place, Olivia finds Santa's note in her purse. Huh? She threw it away. Magically, it's in her purse. Huh. She blames Darcy and again throws it away at her house this time. Then she's off to get coffee. She meet-cutes a guy who grabs her coffee drink thinking that it's his. They both spent some time as they're getting to know each other at the same skating rink. Weird. And he slips his phone number on the cup, on his cup that's going to go to her. So he gives her his phone number. And of course, you know, because it's a coffee shop, his name's on it. And his name is Nick A. Huh? Oh, coincidence here. What do we know?
Nick.
Yeah.
Nick A is Benjamin Ayres.
Yes, Nick A is Benjamin Ayres. Yes. We do get sort of a trove of Hallmark hunks in this one, by the way. Yeah. So she's writing this whole thing off as coincidence, and then she heads outside. And we get a second meet cute immediately here when, classic, she runs right into number 2 and dumps her fancy drink on him. She happens to, magically, have that sweater that her sister gave her the previous night in her purse. And so she pulls that out, and he slips it right over his cocoa-stained tee, which made me, like, cringe. This is a really nice handmade sweater, and it's getting hot cocoa all over the inside.
Just absorbing all of the residuals, yeah.
But I got to give them credit. At least they didn't do what I thought they were going to do, and he was going to, like, take off his shirt, and we were going to get this, like, shirtless moment on the street. I thought that's what we were going to do here.
Well, that's Hallmark Plus with Finding Mr. Christmas. Those guys love taking off their shirt.
Oh, do they ever?
Thirsty
Yes.
people, go watch Finding Mr. Christmas, because there's no shortage of shirtless men over there.
No shortage of that. Yeah. Anyway, so he puts on this sweater that magically just happens to fit him like a glove. And what do you know? When he types his phone number into her phone so they can meet up later, he basically asks her out. His name is Nick B. What? Up. Here we go. Okay.
Played by Christopher Russell. Yes.
Christopher Russell, yes. And so she is rightly weirded out about these recent developments in the past 10 minutes, and she's talking to herself as she's sort of walking and sauntering and not paying attention to anything, and she is almost run over in the middle of the street when she is saved by a third guy here and has her third meet cute in the span of 15 minutes. with a guy who happens to then pick up the Santa note that she dropped or that just magically appeared on the sidewalk and hands it to her. And his name, you guessed it, is also Nick. He is Nick C. And finally, Olivia agrees that this is all real and she is in a magical set of occurrences. Jennifer, what are you thinking about this series of meet cutes?
I liked it because Hallmark is known for their meet cutes. That's part of the formula that even if you don't watch a lot of these movies, like my friends who don't watch them, know that's usually like a step in the process. So I like that we leaned into the meet cutes and just like bang, 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 got them out of the way with Nick A, B, and C. I thought it was like a little wink to Hallmark fandom. I like these three guys. I'm interested to learn more about them. I'm here for it. What do you think?
I liked it. I thought it was fun. I liked her in this role too. You know,
She's great. Yeah.
she's great, and I think that she really kind of does this girl next door thing really well. And I think that we really got sort of the wonder of what the heck is happening here from her in a great way. So
Yes. If she
anyway,
hadn't done that and she was like, of course, this is all just Christmas magic, it would have been harder to watch. But I
Yeah.
like that she's in on it too, kind of like, are y'all seeing this?
yeah,
It's a
exactly.
glowing letter in the trash can. What in the world?
And it was a fine line, and I think she played it really
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she breaks down the bonkers developments of the morning with her sister, who encourages her to lean into all of it. And bam, she has text responses from all three of these guys, including a date with Nick A set for tomorrow night. So here we go. Olivia stops by the worksite around, again, her old childhood home, and she goes over the game plan with Chris now. It's very oil and water between the two of them, but they want it to be because it's clear where all of this is going, right? We know things are going to change.
Seen
with
this
Chris.
before. Yes.
We've seen this before. So Olivia goes on her date with Nick A, and he turns out he's a pediatric neurosurgeon, and he rented out an ice rink for her, which is certainly a grand gesture for a very first date. We get a brief montage. It's pretty flirty. He brought champagne, but she goes to pop the cork, and it pops him in the eye, and they tumble to the ice in a comedic moment that has me laughing.
But also, could have been a concussion. I
Right?
mean, they hit hard. Yeah.
They did hit it hard. Yeah. Back at the worksite, the demo is underway, and Chris is giving Olivia a hard time, insisting he do it herself because he wants the video of her doing it. She's aggressive with a sledgehammer, but softens a bit when she finds her mom's handwriting on a door frame where they measured height growing up. So she's clearly starting to get into her feels about being in her childhood home. Olivia and her
For
sister...
anybody to come, even if it's in disrepair, to come in and then completely gut and renovate your childhood home. That's a lot of feelings.
That's a lot of...
But they acknowledge that because
Yeah.
they hadn't really to this point, and it was like, this is not just a normal house. This was, you lived a lot of life here, and now
I lived
you're
a lot of life.
renovating it, and it's much needed, but it would still be hard. Yeah.
Yeah. Olivia and her sister stop by a furniture store to scout some pieces for the show. She's been a big fan of this place apparently for quite some time, and what do you know? Nick B owns the place, and so their date is going to start a little bit early because she just happened to show up at his shop. They're off to the community Christmas market where Chris happens to be. She tries to get rid of him, but they wind up instead playing a target game that involves throwing a ball at Santa figurines. He is a great shot, and so is she, except she pelts Nick B in the back of the head, and he tumbles to the ground. I thought this was pretty funny because Christopher Russell, Nick B here, did a great job of playing sort of smacked in the back of the head and falling down. It was pretty funny.
It's pretty believable. Yeah. I mean, she is 0 for 2 in these dates as far as head trauma goes.
Yeah, she's getting these guys
Right.
injured, yes. Olivia is off to her date with Nick C. It turns out he's a firefighter and a calendar model, of course. So here we go. He is sure.
Here we go.
Yes.
Yeah.
She needs a
This is
tree.
Kurt Zarka.
Kurt Zarka, yes.
Yeah.
So she needs a tree, so they wander the lot looking at options. She likens the search for a Christmas tree to the search for a romantic partner, which might be a little bit of a stretch, but I don't know. Yeah.
I guess you can find connection anywhere there. Yeah.
Well, you know, he kind of doesn't get it, and it gets worse when she gives him a cookie laden with almonds and he's allergic. And this was also comedic because they did a whole sort of like prosthetic back of the ambulance inflammation thing.
Not comedic. Hated it.
Well, you know,
I have a child.
you
with
have
severe
anxiety around
allergies.
food allergies.
So I will go on a full rant about this later. Don't you worry.
Don't you worry. Understood. Understood. She unpacks all of the drama from her 3 first dates with these guys with her sister and has a magical moment with her Santa note again. Now, this time Santa is demanding she choose the right one by midnight on Christmas Eve. So time's a ticking here. We got to get going. And so we get a dating montage, all from the same restaurant with 3 different guys. And I had to laugh because the host who was welcoming her each night just sort of was like, you again? You again? You again? Different guy? Listen,
Season, all right.
she's just making moves. That's all it is. She's making
I
moves.
guess so.
She's
She's gonna find the right Nick in a sea of Nicks.
Here we go. We're back at the house now. Olivia is tired from all of her dates. She's yawning, drinking coffee. And a crew member happens to find an old box of Christmas decorations and plops it down in front of her. She heads up to the attic where she unpacks the love of the season with Chris. It is very sweet. Very sweet here. Until Chris brings up the budget, which bums her out big time because he's sort of the executive producer here. So he's got an eye on the budget of the whole project here. So now she's on a date with Nick C., the firefighter, and she has a moment of inspiration for the big reveal. Namely, she wants to wrap up this whole house in a gigantic bow, kind of like a Lexus Christmas to Remember sort of situation. You know what I'm talking about there? Yeah.
Grander scale. Yeah. Big size bow.
Big size bow. Yeah. Chris surprises her with a redecorated dining room. Just like that. Snaps his fingers and the dining room looks flawless. Like,
Well, was this the one that, I'm sorry if I'm jumping ahead, but was this the one inspired by, he found some of her sketches she used to do of the house?
because then they were in the attic. They found all of her old design stuff. And so Chris saw this design that she had done at the dining room. So he took it upon himself to do the whole thing.
Yeah, it's very sweet.
Very sweet. Yeah. Yeah. So he's very sweet to do that. And she is very stunned that he was able to do that. Right. Rightward so. Until he reveals that he actually has a master's degree in architecture and design. So clearly they kind of have the same sort of training. It's a tender moment between the 2 of them. Yes, exactly. It's a tender moment between the 2 of them. And it's clear Chris is catching the feels. Now, Olivia is feeling some sort of way about him too. So things are a little softening between the 2 of them.
But his name's not Nick, so clearly this was not Santa's destiny.
Exactly. And so she's conflicted
Can't do it.
about the whole thing. Can't do it. Mere seconds later, like mere seconds, a gigantic bow shows up. So the massive home renovation is apparently now over and we're ready to kind of move on. I guess.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up? Okay. Again, surprising. She decorates the tree outside of Chris's house, and they have a tender scene where they look back at each other a bunch and all of this other sort of stuff. I didn't really know why we needed this scene here, but whatever.
Well, and she said it was something about what he'd said about his childhood, or that he used to do it or something. I missed that. Did he, when they were having a heart-to-heart, did he declare that he used to decorate a tree on the street?
I missed it. If he said that, I missed it.
Listeners, correct us. I'm sure we missed something, but we both missed it, so it wasn't very obvious. I was surprised when she decorated the tree on the curb. I'm sure it made sense. I'm sure
Yeah, it was kind of out of left field a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's on a date with Nick A. Again, he's the surgeon, and she's a bit distracted. Maybe she's distracted because she's thinking about Chris. I don't know. He had set up a mistletoe moment in a nod to their first date and smooches her. So maybe romance is brewing there. Now, Chris shows her the final cut of the show. It all looks great, so they go off to celebrate. He takes her to the prop room back at Bobo HGTV, and he has set up a sleigh ride with hot cocoa, which is a nod to the Christmas tradition that she told him about a little bit earlier. It's very sweet, and as they're leaving the office, he brushes her hair because she's got some fake snow in her hair. It's clear that they're both feeling the heat of all of this. Yes. Olivia.
How were your feelings about the fake snow? Because my husband walked in at about this point and he said, well, at least it's not like felt. I mean, it looked more authentic. It was actually sticking to their hair as well.
I was okay with it because it was clear that it was fake snow. They weren't trying to pass it off like real snow, right? We knew it was fake. So if it's fake and you're calling it fake, and she said, "Hey, we've only got one snow machine. How did you find it?" Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
Like they knew it was fake. They weren't trying to sell it as something it wasn't. So I was okay. Yeah, that's where I draw the line.
That's the line. Okay, now we know.
Olivia unpacks the plight of 3 perfect suitors with her sister over Santa pancakes. Haven't you been there
So
before,
hard being
Jennifer?
A beautiful single woman in the city just trying to go between 3 guys all with the same name. Now, I can imagine it would be difficult. I've never dated more than one person at a time in my life. Anyways, I am happily married, so I'm no longer dating. But juggling 3 men at once would be difficult. Juggling them all with the same name would be impossible. I would absolutely text the wrong person the wrong thing about the wrong conversation. Like, I would still see something that I talked about with A. It seems like a nightmare. Who has time for that?
You'd need a spreadsheet to keep it all together. A Google Doc.
Some notes. Or I would write Spark Notes on my arm maybe and just have sleeves and be like, I need to go to the bathroom. Okay, what was his favorite food? What was his childhood trauma? Let me break it down.
Like your cheat sheet from high school. You just write it on your shoe or whatever.
Here to keep track of who's who in our little segment here. So good night. Or our tour. If there's anybody who can do it, it would be our Olivia.
Anyway, it's clear that she's got the feels for Chris. The letter in her purse is glowing. Yet again, more magic, this time in public. And basically, the letter is telling her now to hurry up and decide. Like, put the pedal to the metal, girl. Tick tock. Let's go, girl. It's time for the big live reveal of her design project. We are 2 minutes out from her going live and realizing all of her career's dreams. And the Knicks show up out of nowhere to support her. It is jarring for our girl and jarring for the guys when they quickly realize they are all there for her. Whoopsie doodle. Here we go.
That didn't go over well, did it?
No, she goes live. 3, 2, 1. She goes live on television, and a comedic brawl, and I do mean comedic brawl, breaks out outside behind her as she's going live, complete with squeaky candy canes as they hit one another. It was pretty funny.
Very funny, and I think it was Benjamin Ayres. One of those guys shared a behind the scenes video from the outside of the house of that scene being filmed, and we shared it on our Instagram. I'll try to save it so y'all can see it. It was very funny.
It was super funny.
Maybe my favorite scene.
Yeah. Anyway, the Knicks bolt when she refuses to choose while she's on live television, and so does Chris. And so her live TV moment is just a bust, big time.
And this live TV moment was only going to last 3 minutes.
Yeah, because it was like a whole...
Like, oh yeah, we got everything we need.
Yeah, whole show where they showed the process of them renovating this house over the span of 3 weeks. And then 3 minutes for her to basically be like, and here it is, Merry Christmas. Good night. Yeah.
Did it need to be live? What did it need to be live?
Probably not. Olivia's there. Olivia's there at the house, and so is her sister to cheer her up. So does the news, however, that the network actually loved the show in the big finish. They were super impressed, which I don't know. Yeah, and they decide to give her her own design series. Same for the Knicks. The Knicks apparently are going to get a dating show on Bobo HGTV, which that makes perfect sense. The doorbell rings, and you're sitting at home and you're watching this, and you're thinking, the doorbell rings. Oh, Chris is there. Here we go. Except it isn't Chris. It is a gift from a gal named Mary for Chris. Now, prior to all this unfolding, she had gotten this cryptic note from Santa that says, a merry gift unexpected was going to be coming. And so here she goes. She gets the unexpected gift from Mary. It's a merry gift unexpected. And Olivia is all of a sudden, she's super gung-ho. She's like, I've got to find Chris. I've got to chase him down and tell him that he is my soulmate. So they're off to go do just that. Now, Darcy, come on, Darcy. She locked her keys in the car. So, of course, that's not an option. But what do you know? Magically, there is a one-horse open sleigh that just happens to be in her driveway.
So funny.
Which Olivia...
So funny.
Yeah, exactly. Which Olivia just masterfully maneuvers as though she's got all kinds of experience in this kind of a scenario.
Well, interior designers definitely have experience with horse wrangling. Shoot, right as that.
And so she's off to the train depot because, of course, he's not going to fly anywhere, as one would do. He's going to hop a train, right? So he he's at the train depot, and Chris has a run-in with a man who is most assuredly Santa Claus, because we saw this man a little bit earlier at the Red Kettle. Now he's at the train station. He does this thing where he like pats Chris on the chest, where Chris had his train ticket, but he changes the train ticket to this note from Santa that basically says, hey, you're going to make a huge mistake if you get on that train. So he doesn't get on the train. He waits, and he's not quite sure why. And then it becomes painfully obvious why when all of a sudden she arrives. Olivia's there. And she gets there. She professes her love for him, and they smooch just as we hear an overhead announcement. Nick Davis, please report to your train, Nick Davis. And she's like, what? Your name is Chris? And he's like, no, my name's actually Nick. My middle name's Chris. Of course. And it all makes Nicholas Christopher, I guess would it be his name?
Christopher Davis. That's a mouthful. All right.
Yeah. But anyway, he's a Nick. She's in love.
It's time for Gold or Coal.
Okay, it is time for our Gold or Coal segment. If you're new to the podcast, Josh and I each bring 3 gifts to the pod. If there's more gold, it is worth the watch. If there's more coal, it's a designer dud. And if it's a tie, it's just a meh, Merry Christmas. Josh, I'm coming to you first.
I got to give some gold here for Daniel Lissing and Erin Krakow. I just thought the two of them together were really nice. She was really believable for me in this role as sort of this interior designer who found herself in a magical kind of situation. And I'm not normally one for these magical movies because I think sometimes they can just be really cheesy. But I actually liked this one. I liked the concept, and I liked the way she reacted to the magic of it all, because I think we saw her sort of grapple with, this isn't real. And then we saw her sort of do this, maybe it is real. And then I think she finally got on board with it. And I loved how it sort of was transformational for her. So gold for them.
Yes, when they worked together on When Calls the Heart, which we've never watched, but I know the Hardys were thrilled to get these two back together. My goodness. What a movie to do it in. I am going to give some gold. Like, the way this movie was shot looked a little more elevated than usual. I don't know if it was just me. And I have my tree up now, so maybe it was the glow of the Christmas tree next to it. But it just seemed like it was, like, really bright and just, I don't know. It just looked prettier being shot. I don't know what to say. I'm no cinematographer. It looked better. There, gold.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with it. I'm going to give some gold to that magical element that I talked about. I thought the way they did it was really interesting. It wasn't just one magical moment. It was sort of the magical moment of Santa kind of nudging things along in a way that I really liked. You know, I liked this whole magical piece of paper that kept showing up, and the message kept changing, and it wasn't always sort of obvious. It was kind of a kick in the pants when it needed to be, and I liked it. I thought it was cute.
It was very cute. It was giving a little bit of Telltale Heart. Like, it wasn't that where like they buried the thing under the floorboards and you could still hear the heart beating.
Yeah, right.
Threw the letter away. It's still glowing. It's back in her purse. Yeah, but no, that was really well done. I am gonna give some coal, and I already alluded to it. The allergy scene. Look, I get it. It's been done 1,000 times, but please, can we stop making life-threatening allergies a funny plot point or a gag in movies? Because it's serious, and he should have had EpiPens on him anyways if he's allergic. What is he doing? But then it makes me super uncomfortable. I know this is a total personal thing, and not many people will agree with me because you don't know until you know, but it's terrifying. So let's not make allergies a bit for humor. Please, I'm begging you.
Well said.
Begging.
Well, no, I think to your point, that if you don't have it in your story, maybe it's funny. But if you do have it in your story, that could be really triggering and really traumatic, especially if someone has had something even mildly go wrong, right? Yeah, I'm with you. And I think that there are better ways to make it a funny thing other than sort of hanging it on an allergy.
Yeah, it's cheap. It's a cheap thing.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Coal.
Yeah. I'm going to give some gold. I really liked that the 3 Nicks that she ran up against, I liked that they each had their strengths and each had their flaws. And I thought that they were really fleshed out as they related to her, as opposed to it just being, here's 3 random hunks. Which one do you like? Like, I liked that she did the work to figure out why they weren't the ones for her, right? As she was sort of processing through all of this, that one didn't like to travel and she didn't feel sparks with another, and the other was more interested in himself. Like, she actually analyzed the prospect of the relationship. She just didn't trust her heart or her gut. Like, she actually did the work, which I think was really a good message.
Yes. I will give some gold. Like we already said, that boy fight scene at the end when they're hitting each other with candy canes and stuff, it was so funny. And then even at the end, she's like, Nick, and they're like, yes. Like they were like the Three Stooges for a minute. And then they formed this bond together. It was super funny. I liked how lighthearted it was, and it made me laugh. Now, Josh, if you had to pick a Nick between A, B, and C, we're going to take Chris' Nick out of it. But the original Nick, A, B, and C, which Nick would you pick?
Which Nick would I pick?
If you
Well,
were Olivia.
If I was Olivia, I think she felt the most probably with A.
That's what I was going to say. I would go Benjamin
Yeah.
first. I think she had the most connection with him if she couldn't be with Chris.
Yeah.
Chris Kringle, is that what his name? St. Nicholas and Chris Kringle, is that why he's Nicholas Christopher?
Oh my gosh. It's like it was meant to be. Bottom line score here, we had 5 pieces of gold, 1 coal, so we're going to call it worth the watch. Boy, this just had like a blockbuster cast, Jennifer. This was one that I think Hallmark was really going all in on in terms of the promotion. Kind of one of these tentpole movies. You know, we're kind of starting the season. We've got a couple weeks under our belt, and they wanted to give us a big one, and I think this was the big one before we get to the Thanksgiving weekend ones.
Agreed. Now, Josh, did you have a cry count for this movie?
I did. And I'll tell you, it was that last scene when they were at the train depot and she sort of said everything she needed to say, and he said everything that he needed to say. And the two of them just have such good rapport. You can tell they've worked together for a really long time. They understand each other's timing. They understand what the other person's doing and how to respond in a way that's believable. Like, it was just really, it was smoldery for me.
It was great. It was a great scene. So is that our first cry count of the new holiday movie season?
Yeah, I think it
I
is.
think so.
Yeah. Here we go.
And did I fall asleep? No, I'm good.
All right.
I woke up early to watch it today. So
So
Here
it's
we go.
my cry count and it's your Z count is what it boils down to.
yeah. Narcolepsy.
Narcolepsy. The narc account.
Sponsored by Sequel. Yeah. And that, friends, is another episode of Do You Watch What I Watch?
Special thanks as always to our good friend Nick Schwartz for our theme song, and of course to all of you for taking the time to listen on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on our YouTube channel.
And we're glad you're here. If you are watching us on YouTube, we would love if you hit that subscribe button. You will get notified whenever we post our new content. Spoiler alert, we might have bonus episodes coming out other than our regularly scheduled dates soon. And you want to be the first ones to see it. So hit subscribe. Subscribe to us on your podcast network. We love it. If you want to email us, talk to us, everything you need to know is at doyouwatchwhatiwatch.com. Up next, we are going to head to Netflix to recap and review the new movie starring Lacey Chabert, Hot Frosty. Here's the plot summary. When a young widow's magic scarf brings a dashing snowman to life, can he help her rediscover romance, laughter, and holiday cheer before he melts away? Oh, we're going to have much to discuss, that is for sure. But until then,
May your days be merry and bright. Take care.